can hear the train in my background. So anyway, today I just wanted to talk about a couple of my favorite book quotes. And it sucks because like there's so many while I'm reading, I'm thinking, oh, that was such a good line and whatnot. But I didn't remember to either write them down or take a note. So I just kind of have to go with what I happen to write down. So here's 10 of them, okay? No really specific order, just something that really caught my attention while I was reading. The first one is, even beauty diminishes with study. It is better to glance than gawk. That is by Josiah Bancroft, Senlin Ascends. Hope I pronounced that right. I love this book, for one. I love the unique concept of it. And this line stood out to me because it's a reminder not to take things for granted. You know, like enjoy. Don't overindulge in anything. Don't take it for granted. And also don't draw that kind of attention to yourself when you don't want it. The second one is, there is only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. Oscar Wilde and The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is by far my favorite book, hands down, probably. There's so many good quotes from this book, I might as well quote the whole damn book. But I just chose this one specifically because it kind of summed up what it was about, you know? No, the old saying goes, even bad news is news. You know, you don't want to... The whole point of this book would just be afraid of this fear of going into obscurity. People are going to forget you. Yeah, they go to your funeral and then what? They forget about you a week later? You know, it's the idea that attention, bad attention is still attention, and I don't know, I feel like it calls to everybody who's always wanted to do an adventure and go out and have something to their name, but it's not always the best, of course. So moving on, we have, you've mistaken the stars reflected on the surface of the lake at night for the heavens. I am not going to try to pronounce that. Sapkowski from Blood of Elves. This one, but despite being worded very beautifully, you know, it talks about illusion and just being able to, sometimes you get so distracted and caught up in first impressions and how something looks that you're not even thinking about the real form of this thing. And sometimes it is easy to be taken advantage of when you want things to look like a certain way. I don't remember where this quote was from, but I remember something about like, if you're always looking down, you never look up. For the people who walk. Ever since then, I've done my best never to look down when I'm walking, because I remember that quote about how if you're looking down, then you're somebody who is missing everything in front of them. So number 4, you can only sharpen a blade so far. In the end, it comes down to the quality of the metal. By Leigh Bardugo, Crooked Kingdom. I love this quote. I mean, in the simplest terms, it's pretty much saying you can only expect so much out of a person, but in the end, they are only capable of who they are. You know, you can't... Sometimes people just aren't up to it, and you can expect too much out of someone. Number 5. If it sounds like a sheep but looks like a lion, it's probably a lion. Nicholas Eames, Kings of the Wyld. Despite actually loving this book, rating it 5 stars, of course. I could probably quote this one too, but this one is again about appearances. You can't always trust what you see, you know, you must trust your instinct. And despite what somebody is telling you straight in the face, you know, oh, it's not what it looks like. Sometimes it is. Number 6. I'm somewhere between honor and ordinary. From Robin Hood. Damn it, I can't even remember which Robin Hood book this was from, okay? I know it's from Robin Hood. But I love this quote because, and I also, it appealed to me so much, I've actually used it in some of my, like, taglines for, like, social media and stuff, just because it describes yourself, you know? It's somebody who might not be the best person, but they try when they can. They try to be the best when they can, but most of the times they're just average. And that's perfectly normal. That's okay. Wow, number 7 is more Leigh Bardugo. And this is from The Familiar. Even though I really disliked this book, the thing I did praise was her writing. And like, I still stand by that. This is probably the most quotable book ever. So I picked 2 for this because I didn't want to give 2 spots to the same book, so I just kind of combined similar stuff. Yeah, it's cheating, okay, whatever. So, first one is, she hadn't so much climbed a mountain as a low hill, but she might as well enjoy the view while she could. Well, that just means be proud of what you've accomplished. Things start one step at a time, and Rome wasn't built in a day and all that. I see people be so hard on themselves sometimes when they don't reach their goals, but I mean, even, you might not get 100%, but still like 88%, 70, 60, even 40% of what you started is 40% more than what you started at. So you should be proud of that. Yeah, you know, it's like, oh, I didn't walk 100,000 steps, I could only walk 10,000. Hey, that's 10,000 more than what you walked yesterday. You know, be proud of yourself for that. So that's why I really enjoy that. You might as well enjoy it while you're here, even if you didn't want to. The second one is, there's a fine line between a saint and a witch, and I wonder if you're prepared to walk it. And now I know this is talking about more specifically, more literally about the whole religious battle in the book, which I did not like. But it's very good. It's a very good reminder about how you're viewed. You know, they're basically, they both do the same exact thing, but one is viewed a certain way, and that all comes down to like reputation and what you do with that power. You might have the same exact power, but what you use it for defines what you are. So there's that. Number 8. If something is impossible, you cannot be terrible at it. Heather Fawcett and Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries. So this is another one where I've cheated and I had to put 2 quotes in it because I just love this book so much, okay? And it was written so beautifully. Just let me have it, okay? That was the first one. And that basically is kind of like about the low hill thing. It's truthful, you know, when you think about it. Somebody says, oh, well, I can't do that, so I'm not even going to try. And it's like, okay, well, if that was true, then if you can't do it, then it would be impossible for you to do it. But if it's not impossible for you to do it, then you might as well try. It's pretty much saying, I bet you can be pretty good at everything. Even if you're not the best, you can still be average at it as long as you try. And if you try and you're okay and you're good at it, that means it's possible to be better at it. The second part is, I will never again believe you to be incapable of hard work. He shuddered. Being capable is not the same as being inclined, Em. Now, yeah, we know they were kind of bantering and roasting each other here, but he's legit. I mean, that's true, right? Some people get accused of being lazy for not wanting to do something, but truthfully, how far can your effort go for somebody who, if it's not appreciated, you know? You should carefully decide where your energy gets spent. Number 9. Every intelligent being, whether it breathes or not, coughs nervously at some time in its life. Terry Pratchett, The Color of Magic. I also cheated here. I put 2 more. Okay, so look, it's like a bonus. You get like 13 quotes instead of 10. Okay, deal with it. But no, this is also true because there are so many people who get kind of intimidated by other people. Like, if they think they're celebrities, you know, you have to realize they're just normal people like the rest of us. You think they haven't gotten nervous or they didn't start somewhere in their life and work their way up? No. And you want to bet that people still don't get nervous when they walk into a room full of 10,000s of people and are expected to do things? No, like, come on, they do. And it's the same, like, I've learned a long time ago, I used to be super shy around people because I used to think everybody was better than me, and more confident and whatnot. And then I realized at some point when I was working retail that these people are also just the same as you and me and everybody else. You know, you have to stop worrying about what other people think and just realize that they are also just people too, and they've probably felt the same way you have at some point. Another one of my favorite ones is, "Don't you understand?" snarled Rincewind. "We are going over the edge, goddammit. Can't we do anything about it?" "No, then I can't see the sense in panicking," said Two Flower calmly. I love this. Not only did it make me laugh, but it's truth. It's true. I've adapted that a lot, especially when, like, say people are afraid of planes or whatever. I just adapted this ability of whatever happens just happens, and you can't really do anything about it, right? So, like I was saying, on a plane, or would think, oh, you're nervous, you're gonna crash or whatever. And it's like, if we do, we do. I can't really do anything about it. So I felt no kind of way about it. And this is, I love this quote. It's true. If you can't do anything about it, why worry about it? And I have this close friend of mine who's always kind of, I don't want to say complaining, but she worries and worries and worries about a situation. And I tell her the same thing. All you can do is what you can do right now. All this other stuff doesn't matter until you can do something about it. So don't even worry about it. Number 10. Living with the feeling that the world was on fire, Wren now knew, was nothing compared to watching it burn. Adrienne Tooley, Sweet and Bitter Magic. Another book I thoroughly enjoyed and loved. I feel like this is about kind of people's experiences in general, and just, you could look at it a few ways. One of the angles could be the consequences of your actions, once you realize the impact that it's actually caused. But the way I prefer to look at it is, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, people's experiences. People are always so quick to tell you what to do, or say what they would do in a certain situation and give you advice and whatnot. But there's a lot of times where they haven't even been in that experience themselves, and it's different. Once you go through that, it's different for you to actually experience it. And people tell you all the time what they would do. But then it's like, yeah, but you're not the one. You're saying that now, but if that was you in that experience, I highly doubt it, So there's just that. That was just a quick run through of 10 quotes that I've liked. I know I haven't posted a lot recently because I've been reading books, but either they haven't been appealing to me, either I haven't had time, or I just don't want to do like review after review after review, because everybody and their mom has either already read the book, they know it's good. I just want to do something else, I guess. So that's why I'm doing these things about quotes. Anyway, I hope that was somewhat enjoyable. So until next time.